Repair and accessories for the Anyang Power Hammer. William Hovey Smith, 2019. Well, unfortunately, we had a little accident with our power hammer. As you see, it fell twice. I'm Hovey Smith, and I'm the owner of Hovey's Knives of China. And this 1,750-pound power hammer was going in my shop. And here is one episode of its installation. I'm also an author. And besides my outdoor books, I have a business book, Create Your Own Job Security, which advocates that you start businesses at any time, at any age, anywhere, to raise whatever amount of money you need to have. My newest work is a fiction book, Father of the Grooms. In this book, a family of Sicilian origin takes their two sons to Sicily to meet some nice girls. But they find out when they arrive on Monday that through a misunderstanding, the weddings are to take place on Friday. Well, the guys won't out. They try to arrange to get the gals to call off the wedding with the antecedents of their gay hairdresser uncle and a certain Irish priest, but it is Thursday, and it looks like they're going to be marched to the church on Friday. This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman, and I'm pleased to report that our Anyang Power Hammer is now in its crib. This is one critical part that was bent when the machine fell over, and that bent up piece of tubing controls the speed of the hammer by way of this long rod that runs all the way up to the top of the machine here. And somehow we have to either straighten or replace it. As crenulated as that is, I cannot pull it socket there. And so what I'm going to do is cut it off with the angle grinder again, and then make a new part to fit inside. Well, that's done. And my little piece of foil down there caught all the sparks, but it's going to be a little while before that's cool enough to handle. We've taken the Dremel tool and removed the burrs from that cut piece of tubing. So now the foot piece should just pull out, now that I've disconnected it from both sides. There we go. Well, it's wonderful when something sometimes works as planned. My problem is, now that I have these two pieces removed, how do I restore that functionality to the machine? Well, two things present themselves. One is, although this has been cut off, it's also out of line. These two pieces are no longer parallel. All right. This is the piece I've cut off here. I need something that inserts inside, is long enough to connect, and then take a pin right about here somewhere to connect to the control arm. My solution is this laminated material here. This is gunstock wood. It's the toughest wood I've got, so far as water resistance, heat resistance, blah, 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 and strength. So I can actually make it thicker than the steel was. So that'll give it a little added strength. And I can mill a section of this round so it'll fit inside here. Slot it on its forward portion so it will take the pin, and then just slide this down in here, put the pin back in here, the connecting rod goes out there, and everything is copacetic again. once I straighten out the limbs of the footpiece. We've gone on a bandsaw and cut down the shaft here that will actually fit inside this steel tubing. And we're now going to put it on the knife making machine on the belt sander and reduce it to round so that it will actually slide inside the steel tubing. We now have our modified connecting block fitted to the piece here, as you can see. I'm going to have to countersink for the nut head on this side and slot this, but yeah, we're very nearly there. And this is what the work looks like once it is reduced. So it's a tight slip fit. Well, we finished fabricating our linkage piece here, and we cut parallel slots in this material with a bandsaw, and then went over to our antique scroll saw over there, and we cut the little parallel slots out. So now you have a nice clean hole on both sides and plenty of wood support here. Now, since this piece is just a linkage piece and goes blah 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 and doesn't have any great stress on it, this should last. When you have a task with many parts, it's a temptation to leave things halfway done until later, but I'm going to go ahead and finish this connecting piece. I didn't have a nut and bolt of suitable length, so I went and got a carriage bolt to do this morning, but the head is too large, so I'm going to turn the head down so it doesn't protrude beyond the wood. I've ground down the head of that carriage nut so it fits flush in that countersunk hole. And so we may do a final little bit of cutting and finishing and maybe reposition the hole, etc., etc. when we install it. But ultimately I'll sand this and put a coat of gray paint on it. We're now getting to straighten that bent piece of tubing on my foot piece. And I've got it mounted in this pipe bender from Harbor Freight. And I've owned this for about 10 years, and perhaps this is the second time in 10 years I've actually used it. But I needed it. And if I'd had to take this by a machine shop to have it done, that would have been a $50 minimum charge just for bringing the work in the house. So the machine costs less than that, so it has paid for itself. Looking down on the machine, you can see that central piece that the hydraulic jack is actually pushing on. This came with fittings with several different varieties of pipe. But the significant thing here, if you bend pipe, you must have something to push against on both sides. And because of the bend already in that piece, I had to fabricate a little piece of V-shaped wood here so it would actually bear and apply pressure when I pumped the handle. Well, my wooden block wasn't strong enough to do the job. It split out. So what I've done now is I fitted one of the pipe adapter fittings underneath this roller right here. And that is bearing down on the foot piece here. And that is giving a good bend to the piece. So I think maybe we did some good. Although of different lengths, the angle is now nearly about as close as I can judge it by eye. So I believe we have about done the job. The test is, will it go in and out of the brackets of the machine and hang and work in a much more normal way? And the answer is an enthusiastic yes, it does. So now the machine on spring tension can be installed with the foot pedal about here, which is about where you want it, and you can adjust it up and down for individual heights, although no one would want it way up here, which is where it was jammed. But about in here somewhere would be about right. And it slides easily in and out of the machine. So, all right. Yeah, I deem that a success. I'm going to attach a winch to the crib. So I'm going to go ahead and install this new one here. And we're going to thread it up with this nylon rope and attach it. I'm going to have to put it on another block so that when I rotate the handles, I'll actually have room to clear. Even after rounding the sharp corners of the handle, that handle is still too long to clear the wall, even after I mounted it on the 2x4. So consequently, I'm going to take the angle grinder and shorten it about 1 inch and sight and drill another hole and reattach the handle. When working with an angle grinder and you're cutting to a hole, you always want to cut the section out of the hole so you don't twist and crack your grinding blade. As steels go, this is pretty soft. I went with a carbide bit first to get a pilot hole, and now I'll enlarge it to full size with the larger bit. I'm lubricating it, and so that speeds up the drilling process. We have finished mounting our light-duty winch for dealing with smaller components of this power hammer. These 2 screw eyes are purposefully mounted at an angle so that when downward pressure is put on them, they pull not only against the wood but also against this section of angle iron, which acts like an enormous washer. So this is quite strong enough to do what we need to do. I've also used Gorilla Glue and this tire iron to tighten up these eye screws into the wood. We finished our day's work today with all of the auxiliary items we needed to do before we actually took this power hammer off the dolly and rested it on the floor, which is what building this crib was all about in the first place. To have an anchor point up top strong enough so that I could actually hold up and support a 1,750-pound piece of machinery safely and safely lower it down on the floor. And we are going to do this with a truck winch, which will be located 40 feet in that direction, out of the shop. Not going to knock down my shop wall to bring my truck in. But I am nonetheless going to use the winch to move and position this hammer. And you will see that in the next episode. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time. In Hovey's Knives of China, we went back 3,000 years, when China had the most advanced civilization of the world and produced some advanced cutlery knives out of bronze. Well, I've taken these as inspiration, and I now make them out of modern carbon and stainless steels. In Father of the Grooms, we are now along with about chapter 7. And we have our family introduced. We have some of the participants from both Sicily and the U.S. introduced in these earlier chapters. And we have one of our guys driving across the Mojave Desert in an old beat-up Scout named the Busted Beast, and he's trying to make it to Baton Rouge. And he has some interesting encounters on Fremont Street in Las Vegas. Now, while no one would go about and break a machine so they could repair it, you can repair the basic exterior elements of this hammer using relatively simple equipment. Now, I've attached a winch to the hammer's cage so I can lift some of the smaller parts as I need to do. For more information about my books, blogs, and more than 750 videos, you can go to my website, www.hoviesmith.com. For more information on my knives, you can go to hoviesknivesofchinablog.co. And to learn how you can get chapters of Father of the Grooms as I write them, and also participate in the project and later movie, you can go to fatherofthegrooms.net. Goodbye, and God bless. See you in the movie.